Good afternoon. Imagine you're a student in 1930 Germany. And you're walking down the street in the morning time, down to your university, and you see this. You see the evil Jew. And then you just enter the campus gate, and your colleague provides you with the new Gazette on campus. And you will learn where Jews are warmongers throwing grenades all over. You sit in your classroom, and then the teacher tells you all about the domination and the influence of Jews worldwide, acquiring it with pure money. Well, fact, friends, disturbing picture. But the most disturbing, none of these images were presented 85 or 80 years ago. No. All of these images were taken, were presented, were published in the last few years. Take this, for example. Yes, the evil eye, the evil Jew. That was presented in an animation contest held by Badil, an NGO promoting boycotts, partially funded, yes, by European government. And then, if you thought about this evil Jew with a yarmulke, with the bad eyes, with the big nose, well, that was presented by an organization called PSC, the ones who's here from Britain, and I spot a few of the faces, surely know who PSC is. PSC, Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, is the head engine of boycott Israel and anti-Israel discussion in the UK, one of the main engines, main generator of boycotting and delegitimization of State of Israel in Europe, in fact. And this? Well, this was published just a few months ago in the States, in a website called El Auda. Again, anti-Israel BDS promoter organization. It's time to say it out loud, friends. Sorry, this is the one. It's time to say it out loud. It's the same anti-Semitism, just in a different manner, in a different acronym, but with a different generator, BDS. I would like to do something here today for the first time, and with your help, with your permission, tear off a mask. Can I have a mask for a minute? I have it? Okay, so this is the mask, and I'm using this visual in order to explain that for years we have been tolerating, as a community, as leaders, as policymakers, we have been tolerating this campaign. We have been tolerating this human rights facade campaign. But behind the mask, let me try today and explain you what we found behind the mask. Our ministry, the Ministry of Strategic Affairs, headed by the Security Cabinet, charged by the Israeli Security Cabinet, headed by Minister Gilad Erdan, is in fact in charge to counter this delegitimization and boycott campaign. Just recently, we have issued a report, an in-depth report called Behind the Mask. This report states more than, This report states more than 80 examples, blatant examples of anti-Semitic content. It also deals with at least 60 different BDS organizations and leaders and activists. It is a very troubling report indeed. It was presented last month in the European Union. And just before entering this report, I would like to tell you that the different examples that we found within this investigation are in fact in conjunction with the IHRA definition. Now, just to say a few things about the IHRA, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition for anti-Semitism. It has been, in fact, widely accepted by the EU, the Department of State, by 15 different countries, and just this weekend by Greece. The thing about IHRA is that it helps us to create a very clear framework of what is anti-Semitism in its classical form, and in the Israeli context, or the Israel context. Now, without further ado, let's check some of the, I would say, definitions within, or the articles within the IHRA. The first one, classical anti-Semitism. So let's just, glance, and you could see from left to right, Jews as Christ killers. Yes, friends? Coming from the 14th century till today, being spread by BDS activists, BDS leaders. The last one in Electronic Intifada, which is the main portal, the internet portal for the boycott, delegitimization, and the anti-Israel virulent campaign on social media. The second one, for example, Jews as pigs. Unconceivable, unacceptable narrative that accompany me as a Jew and my family for hundreds of years, being continued to be reverberated by Roger Waters, a BDS activist, on his stage with a huge balloon, with a Star of David, a huge balloon of a pig, of course, on its neck. This is anti-Semitism at its best. Second example, friends. Drawing comparisons that the state of Israel and its actions are similar to the Nazi regime. Now think for a minute, what a waste. One of the greatest lessons in history. One of the, I would say, most troubling times of the Jewish people ever. And yet, you will get this. You will get notions and chants and remarks that uses this Holocaust remembrance in a very bad manner. Let's say something about remembrance and our role as policymakers here in this room. We must understand as a community, as enlightened civilization, that when we allow this discussion to take place, we lose our responsibility. Our responsibility for a better world, our responsibility for human rights. Not only human rights of Jews, but human rights of any ethnic, religion, group, for their well-being. Now, in fact, when you allow this to happen on social media, and by states, yes, when we're not, as policymakers, enough taking care of the discussion being held in our public sphere, you will get this. (2011, New York). Participation of BDS activists. When we do not take responsibility on things being said and we do not counter anti-Semitism, we will get this exact comments about Jews. We need for Zionist concentration camps. That's exactly the talk of BDS activists. If we won't take care of this, we will get this. That's in South Africa. You know, I'm a father to two young kids, and the ultimate goal of, I would say, my life is to provide them with a better future. Personally, nationally, as good Israelis, as citizens of a thriving democracy, and globally, yes. And there's nothing near educating them to hate the other, to wish for the death of another, even if it is different from you. The third example, and we get to the core of delegitimization and the mask, is all about denying the own right of Jewish people for self-determination. The most basic right of, I would say, each and every ethnic or religious group is to have a self-determination. That's who you are. So they would delete the maps. They would even chant in demonstrations that Jews shouldn't be there, from the river to the sea. And the most amazing thing is that the leaders are in fact thinking the truth. But the mask itself, to mask your actions, to mask your true intention, we will speak about this in a minute, is in fact working. And we have to think as a community what to do with it. Because this is exactly what they say in closed rooms.
No Palestinian, rational Palestinian, not a sellout Palestinian, would ever accept a Jewish state in Palestine.
You know, one should ask, why do they use the mask? Why not just say it publicly? No Israel, no Jews in Israel. Why not say it like Iran says? Why not say it like Hamas says? Why not say it like Islamic Jihad says? No Israel for the Jews. They won't. You know why? Because when they would like to enter this beautiful, really beautiful building, in a Western conference, they would need this facade again. Where is it? Thank you, mask. This facade of human rights. If you're using this facade of human rights, you will probably, with justice, equality, freedom, peace, and other pretty solidarity, and a lot of pretty words, they will get legitimate access to funding. They would probably get also attention of the media. That's the mask, friends. And us as a community, we have a role. Not only as Jews, not only as Israelis, but as society, to unmask it. To conclude, BDS for the last 15 years has been spreading drop by drop anti-Semitism, creating a sewer. That's disturbing, friends. 15 years. Where have we been? And I'm asking myself also as a state, as a senior state representative. The Ministry of Strategic Affairs in the last 4 years have been acting from defense to offense, as our minister, Erdan, has instructed us. But still, we have a lot to do. To conclude, at least this section, the BDS campaign is tainted with anti-Semitism, and it's anti-Semitic by nature, because it rejects the own legitimacy of the State of Israel, of the Jewish people, to self-determination in any borders. And I would repeat, in any borders. But there's a progress, at least in the last year, coming from Europe, coming from other places, from the remarkable decision by the Bundestag, continuing with the House of Representatives in the States, stating that delegitimization of the State of Israel is intolerant, continuing with the UN report just last month, that chants and calls to that Israel should stop to exist, should be condemned. And even the Czech Republic, just recently, have been endorsing this resolution. And there's more.
Germany is the first country in the European Union to declare that the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement, or BDS, is anti-Semitic.
Antisemitisch ist es auch. Qui ne voit que l'antisémitisme se cache de plus en plus sous le masque de l'antisionisme. L'antisionisme est une des formes modernes de l'antisémitisme. Il n'y aura aucune complaisance à l'égard des pratiques de boycott et du BDS, plusieurs fois condamnées en France et qui le seront jamais.
It's not right to discriminate or to make someone feel unsafe on campus because of their religion. But unfortunately, the BDS movement is often linked to those kinds of things. So yes, sir, I will continue to condemn the BDS movement.
A despicable justification for questioning the very right of Israel to exist. Boycott, divestment and sanctions movement is wrong. It is unacceptable, and this party and this government will have no trouble with those who subscribe to it.
Anti-Semitism. Let us call out the BDS movement for what it is.
So it's a good start, but it's not enough. I would like to present you with very concrete 4 actions that us as policymakers, as seekers for safeguarding the state of Israel should take. The first one, education. We should educate about anti-Semitism. Use the IRA definition in order to educate better. We should do everything that we could to stop funding delegitimization and boycott organizations. Not only because it's immoral, but also because, and I would like to take you back to our previous report released just 10 months ago. It's called Terrorists in Suits. We found more than 100 links between the PFLP and the Hamas to BDS organizations. We found more than 30 different operatives from the PFLP, from the Hamas, in the same time or past operatives and current operatives, in the same time that they will chant in the European Parliament, and we have few examples of it, they have been transferring money to PFLP. Yes, terrorists, with a disguise, with the mask again. And I continue on and on. The third concrete action. There's some very, powerful people in this room. We should do more regarding social media. We cannot allow our kids to be flooded with hatred, to be flooded with anti-Semitism, to be flooded on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and others with anti-Israel, hate to Israel. We should stop it. And the last thing, friends, we should do much more to encourage more resolutions against this boycott campaign and delegitimization of the state of Israel. Just before ending, I would like to thank ELNET, Aryeh, David, Larry. Where's Larry? Thank you for doing so, because there's not much of a conventions like this in Europe. And it's very important. The fact that you do this, the fact that we're all together doing this is so very important. We should, and we would, stop anti-Semitism. We should and we would stop terror. And we should and we would win BDS. Thank you.